Vanga named 4 zodiac signs that do not live long. There are zodiac signs whose lives are often shorter than others. This is not an accident or coincidence. According to Vanga, these 4 signs carry a special karma, accelerated, intense, full of internal storms and trials. Their path is like a flash, bright, powerful, but not always long. These people often live on the edge. It is difficult for them to rest, they do not know how to stop, and even enjoy. Their hearts are squeezed by premonitions. Vanga said, "If you belong to these signs, know that fate requires wisdom from you and a careful attitude to your time." In this video, you will find out which signs were included in this list, and why they were under the special attention of fate. Subscribe to the channel if you want to receive the truth, without embellishment and illusions, the way Vanga herself conveyed it. Write in the comments what sign you are and how much you feel like you're living too fast. Let's get started. The first sign is Cancer. According to one of Vanga's little-known prophecies, among the representatives of the sign Cancer, there is a special tendency to early burnout of the body. Not because of the weakness of the body, but because of a deep character trait. Cancers do not live for years, they live for emotions. They pass everything through themselves, someone else's pain, worries, grievances, injustice. This slowly but inevitably exhausts them from the inside. They are not given time for indifference. Vanga said that this sign burns out from its own hypersensitivity. Cancer begins to bear responsibility early, for family, for friends, for those who are nearby. And he does this with such dedication that he forgets about himself. He suppresses his desires, shifts priorities to others, lives with the expectations of loved ones. And the body is silent, but records every internal tension. Vanga noted that Cancers often look younger than their age, but this is deceptive. From the inside, the body can be 10 to 15 years older than the real age. This is because Cancer rarely rests mentally. The medical statistics that Vanga spoke about coincided with her intuitive observations. Cancers have a higher risk of psychosomatic diseases. The digestive organs, heart, and endocrine system suffer especially. Often, illnesses manifest unexpectedly, although the body sends signals in advance. But Cancers do not hear, they are busy with others. This makes them one of the most vulnerable signs, especially after 45. The danger is that Cancer tends to hide its pain. It does not complain until it becomes critical. Vanga warned, Cancers need to learn to put themselves first, not out of selfishness, but for the sake of survival. Those who do not unload their heart risk getting hit there. Particular attention should be paid to sleep, anxiety levels, and the ability to say no. Most Cancers have chronic fatigue, which they ignore for years. And then, a heart attack, stroke or cancer, which come out of the blue, but in fact have been brewing for a long time. Vanga also said that long-lived Cancers are those who have changed their thinking. Those who have learned to share emotions, and not choke on them. Who have learned to love themselves as they love others. This is hard, but this is the key to survival. Otherwise, alas, according to statistics, among Cancers, especially men, there is a sad tendency for life expectancy to decrease against the background of stress and unexpressed experiences. Therefore, Vanga's warning cannot be ignored. Cancers cannot live to the point of exhaustion. They need time for themselves, space for recovery, and most importantly, internal permission to take care of themselves. Only then do they have a chance to go through life not in an exacerbation of pain, but in harmony and strength. The second sign is Sagittarius. Vanga said, Sagittarius leaves quickly not because they are weak, but because they live too intensely. Their life is like a fire that burns brightly, powerfully, but rarely for long. This is a sign that experiences a constant thirst for movement, novelty, freedom. And in this uncontrollable desire for expansion, they do not know how to stop. Even when the body screams, Sagittarius laughs and runs on. According to the prophecy, Sagittarius is prone to early physical and mental wear and tear. Their main enemy is overestimation of their own resources. They often ignore signals from the body, postponing rest, nutrition, tests. Especially at the age of 35 to 50, when many Sagittarius enter the peak of activity. It is then that they take on more than they can bear, are torn between ideas, goals, trips, people. And then suddenly, a sharp failure. Vanga noted that this sign rarely gets sick for a long time. But if illness strikes, it is like lightning, suddenly, sharply, without the possibility of delay. Sagittarius has an increased risk of heart attacks, injuries, as well as liver and vascular diseases, especially if there is a lot of stress, moving and disruption of the regime in life. Their fiery energy gives high performance, but in the absence of discipline, this leads to overheating of the body, literally and metaphorically. Vanga also noted that Sagittarius does not know how to stop in time. They rarely undergo a full diagnosis, consider themselves invulnerable, do not like to talk about weaknesses. They inspire others, but do not hear themselves. This is the main reason for their internal burnout. In adulthood, they often break down to emotional extremes, experience apathy, lose orientation. All because the soul requires silence, and Sagittarius continues to run. Nevertheless, this sign has a chance to change the trajectory. Vanga emphasized, Sagittarius needs control, not external, internal. Those representatives of the sign who develop self-discipline, undergo regular checkups, monitor the rhythms of their body, live long and actively. But those who ignore the signals, end their journey unexpectedly and prematurely. The years when social status, work or environment change are especially dangerous for Sagittarius. During such periods, the risk of isolation, accidents or sudden health problems increases sharply. Vanga's prophecy was not a sentence. It is a warning. Sagittarius should not give up freedom, but must learn to take care of the body that carries his soul. Because the speed at which he lives is not always synchronous with the body's resources. And if you do not find a balance, a bright life can end too early. The third sign is Capricorn. The representative of this sign is a person who lives with internal compression. From youth, he has the feeling that there is little time, many responsibilities, and to rest means to fall behind. He himself turns his life into an endless series of tasks, responsibilities, deadlines. And the further, the tighter this schedule becomes. Capricorn almost never has a real break. Even on a day off, he feels guilty for not working. He does not know how to relax. And this is the beginning of his destruction. The main reason for the short life of representatives of this sign is chronic stress. Their body is in a state of combat readiness for years. Stress hormones are constantly released into the blood vessels are in spasm, the cardiovascular system works with overload. The pressure is unstable, the pulse is often higher than normal, sleep is shallow. Capricorn can fall asleep with thoughts about work and wake up with anxiety that he is not in time. They rarely talk about pain. They endure until the last. They do not complain. They even go to see a doctor when the symptoms are already becoming threatening. Their attitude is, it will go away on its own, but this does not work when it comes to internal organs. The heart, joints, and spine are especially vulnerable. Many Capricorns have hidden inflammations, circulatory problems, and weak connective tissue. They are prone to the accumulation of psychosomatic conditions. The illnesses that they develop are often associated not with infections, but with internal burnout. It seems to them that strength is in self-control, restraint, and the rejection of emotions. But the body requires discharge. And if Capricorn forbids himself to cry, talk, and defend his feelings, he pays for it with his own body. Paradoxically, Capricorns often seem young on the outside. They have good discipline, they take care of themselves, and do not allow themselves weaknesses. But this, external calm and composure, does not reflect the real state. Inside, overwork, exhaustion, chronic fatigue. Their body cannot cope with the level of responsibility they take on. They often have problems with bones, knees, teeth. These are symbols of rigidity, stability, and they are the first to suffer when a person lives at the limit. Capricorn rarely allows himself emotional closeness. Because of this, the psyche suffers. Lonely crises that have to be experienced without support increase internal pressure. This is a sign that needs help, but will never admit it. They are categorically contraindicated to a long-term refusal to rest. If Capricorn does not develop the skill of pause, vacations, conscious recovery, his life is shortened. He can achieve a lot, but he will pay for it for years if he does not learn to stop. The optimal strategy is regular examinations, psychotherapy, physical activity without fanaticism. He needs to learn to share worries, allow himself to be vulnerable, allow himself imperfection. Only in this case, his strength becomes a resource, and not destruction. Too many Capricorns die early, not because fate decreed it so, but because they have not listened to themselves for too long. To live longer, you need not do more, but learn to do it on time. And stop, even if it seems impossible. The fourth sign is Aries. The representative of this sign is not just a man of action, but a walking combustion engine. He lives in a maximum acceleration mode, where every day is a race, every task is a challenge, and every obstacle is a target for a ram. His nature is to burn fuel here and now, without a trace, without delay. This energy gives him an incredible start, but often takes away the main thing, duration. Aries wears himself out quickly. His heart does not rest. It beats like an alarm drum. A struggle is almost always raging inside him. With himself, with others, with circumstances. And even if outwardly he looks calm, inside there is a storm that is not visible to others. It is difficult for him to sit still. He cannot just live. He needs to prove, achieve, overcome. And he does this even when the body is already giving signals about overload. Aries often suffers from blood vessels, nervous system, stomach. He is prone to hypertension, migraines, ulcers. But he does not pay attention to this. His credo is, "I will break through." Even when the body says, "Stop," he continues to run. Because a pause for him is almost a disaster. He fears inaction more than pain. This tendency to self-immolation becomes the cause of many early violations. Impulsiveness is another reason for risk. A representative of this sign often acts before thinking. He can get into accidents, get injured, overstrain muscles, tear his back or harm himself in the heat of emotions. He is not afraid of risk, and this is often what shortens his path. Among the representatives of this sign, there are many who passed away due to an accident, a momentary impulse, a careless step. Aries rarely talk about fears. They build an image of strength, security, leadership. But behind this facade there is often uncertainty and chronic internal pressure. He does not admit fatigue because he considers it a weakness. He does not allow himself to complain because it does not fit into his internal code. As a result, he is silent when he needs to call for help, and continues to step on the gas when it is high time to brake. His health directly depends on the ability to stop in time. But this goes against his nature. He is afraid of being late, afraid of not being the first. And he often pays for this with his own strength, organs, time. A representative of this sign can feel that time is running out for him, as if he needs to do everything before a certain age. This feeling creates unnecessary haste, leads to burnout and exacerbations. He is rarely disciplined in health. He can skip taking medications, not undergo an examination, forget about recovery. He does not like hospitals, does not trust doctors, prefers to figure things out himself. But with age, this approach leads to irreversible consequences. The heart does not forgive overloads, the brain does not like chronic stress, muscles get tired from tension. It is important for a representative of this sign to learn trust. In people, in the body, in time. He can live longer if he stops rushing all the time. If he accepts that life is not only a battle, but also a space for self-care. It is vital for him to include rest, vacation, quiet walks, silence in his schedule. Only then will he preserve his flame and not turn it into ashes. Aries can leave early, not because they are destined, but because they do not know how to take care of themselves. But if he understands that strength is not only in movement, but also in a pause, he will open a second, longer path for himself. Life without a rush is not a weakness, but a wisdom that is extremely important for this sign to master in time.